Good
So
to see you.
good to see you too. So obviously the war in Iran is top of mind, and obviously it goes back to your time, our relationship um, with Iran. The United States relationship with Iran goes back to the time when you were taken hostage. You have sort of
Absolutely.
a bird's eye view of the Iranian government. How do you think that the president is now saying the people need to rise up and take control of their government? Do you think that that's a possibility at this time in Iran?
No, I don't think there's any possibility right now, or perhaps even for weeks, for anything like this to happen. We have to see whether the Revolutionary Guards will be staunchly behind the regime. If there's any defection from Revolutionary Guards or the Basij or the military itself, then there's a possibility. But there again, we have to think about what is the end game of this entire uh, attack on Iran? Uh, is there anything that we want to see happen? That is, if we want to see a democratic Iran, we might be seeing more chaos in Iran. How will the Iranian people somehow assemble themselves together and try to erect a democratic institutions? There's no real demonstrated opposition to the regime, even though the Iranian people themselves, the majority of Iranian people, want to see an open Iran. But is there a leadership? Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, yes, they've been talking about him, but he hasn't been in Iran for 47 years. So I can't see him leading any government at all. And there are too many agreements amongst those people who would like to see a new Iran. I could actually see chaos more than anything else.
But why do you say that? I mean, do you think there's two things that could happen? Well, there's three things that could happen. You could have the government recommission itself and the Revolutionary Guards continue to and the mullahs and the ayatollahs continue to take control. You can have a democratic government over the people overthrow the mullahs, or as you point out, chaos. What do you think is the most likely outcome of what's happening?
Well, I think at this moment, I don't see any movement towards any open society in Iran. I'm fearful that there might be chaos inside Iran, and there could be even dismemberment of the country. We just don't know what will happen. But certainly, we have to see whether the Revolutionary Guards will disaffect, or the military or the Basij. That's the only way we might be able to see the possibility of a more open Iran. And then again, as I said before, who will lead, who will try to erect a institutions in Iran that can somehow have a transition toward a democratic Iran.
But based on your experience and the time you spent in Iran before you were taken hostage, and obviously the time you were hostage, do you see a situation where cutting off the head of the serpent, so to speak, by killing the Ayatollah and some of his key advisors would have the effect that the Americans wanted to have, which is to give the people an opportunity to rise up and take control.
No, I don't see that. I think the regime is still intact. As many as Iranians who have been killed by the United States, there is a grand supply of new rising Iranian leadership that is pro-Islamic Republic. And so I think right now, yes, Iran is weakened militarily, absolutely, but I don't see the regime at all falling apart. The leadership will continue. There will always be a replacement for another one. This has been going on for years. This has not been just a a moment in time where the Iranians, oh my God, you know, America might be bombing us and so forth. They've had this replacement system going on for years and years.
So I guess I wonder this. The other stated aim of the American government is to incapacitate Iran's ability to build a bomb. And the president wants to do that. He wants to get rid of their missiles and he wants to get rid of their navy, which has made it difficult to get oil deliveries through the Straits of Hormuz. Do you think that the American government can, and with the Israelis, can effectuate at least that goal?
Um, I don't think right now the issue of enrichment is the purpose of what's going on in terms of the U.S. policy in Iran. Um, for me, I'm almost amazed that the president has not come out and said what he really wants. What is the end game? Why is he doing it right now when there were negotiations going on that seemed to be moving Iran in many ways to lowering its enrichment down from 60% to 3.67%, and also the issue of possibly limiting missiles, as well as even giving the United States the opportunity for some economic penetration in Iran.
So, if you question the goals that have been stated by the president and his aides, I guess the question then becomes, um, what effect do you think this is going to have on our relations with our allies? You know, not only in the Middle East but also in the EU.
I think it's it's a um, it's a lose-lose situation for the United States. Already, the Iranians have hit Cyprus, uh, and the the British are really discussing what they can do and what they cannot do. The UK population does not want to see the British in any military operation at all, and I don't see the EU at all supporting the United States in this initiative at all.
But could it be a situation where they don't want to say it publicly, but privately they're like sort of relieved that they're trying to take Iran out?
Um, I don't see that right now. Look, I think they're not unhappy about what is happening, but they don't want to get involved in a long-term situation. Look, the Iraq situation has taught many people in many governments in the EU too that it went nowhere. There was no purpose in it all. It was a lose-lose situation. And I think Afghanistan absolutely was the same thing. So look, the EU has supported the United States, NATO has supported the United States in its time of need, 9/11. But I do think that the United States has not been supporting the EU or NATO in recently, and that has been assisting the Ukraine. And so the EU is thinking about what its relationship with the United States will be in the near future. And I think it is separating itself. It will be, it is thinking very hardly about an independent EU from the United States.
So basically, what you see, is that while they may be happy or whatever, wink, wink, that the United States is doing it, it's Trump's war and let him sink or swim with whatever happens.
Yes, I absolutely believe that. I think that, but what I'll say this: Trump knows that right now that he has not degraded Iran to a situation where Iran will give up. The only way anything can happen like that is boots on the ground. And the American people will not stand for it, and many in Congress will not stand for it. And many of his own supporters will not support that. So air power has always proven not to be the winner in any war. World War II, take World War II, for example. The Germans were bombing the Brits all over the place. The Brits and the Americans were bombing the Germans. The Germans kept on fighting. I don't see this anything happening unless and if the United States committed boots on the ground, and the United States is not going to do that. I think Trump is going to say, I've won, I've done what I had to. Now, Iranian people, you're free now to overturn the regime. And he knows, and everybody else knows, that's impossible.
So then the last question is this: why do you think he did it?
That's going to be the question of the $64,000 question. I think it's really is it it in my own opinion. I think he is so angry and so he had a sense of retribution against previous administrations in the United States. Most likely the Obama administration. Look, the Obama administration and the JCPOA was working. It was working. It was limiting Iran. And Trump moved out. And I think from there on, he moved to limit Iran and make life miserable for Iranians. Believe me, the Iranian population it desires a better life for themselves. But the sanctions that have been going on in Iran have been so devastating that the Iranian poverty level has gone up extremely. And that's why the Iranians were protesting explicitly for a new economic system and also for an open society.
Well, then I have to ask you another question. Do you think that they can achieve a new economic system within the boundaries of having the mullahs and the Revolutionary Guard control the country?
No, no. The only way Iran can succeed economically and politically is by ridding itself of this Islamic Republic. It's a repressive regime. It's also a regime that's full of corruption. Believe me, there are many Iranian leaders who have their children living outside of Iran in luxury. And where did they get all this money?
Barry,
Yes,
thank you so very much. I really appreciate it.
thank you very much.
Talk to you soon.
I appreciated your questions too.
I appreciate you.